Madness are here. Well, two of Madness are here. The boys are here. Hello, boys.
Hello, Dermot.
Suggs and Mike's great to see you. You're well. You're back, Mike.
Yes, not bad. Back from where would it be, Dermot?
Well,
Particular?
Amsterdam, I suppose.
Berlin? No, we've just been to Berlin, yeah.
But Amsterdam's your hometown now.
Amsterdam, yes. I live in Amsterdam, indeed.
How long have you lived over there, Mike?
Well, I don't actually live that much over there. I've been over there about 20 years. 20 years.
What, on and off, like?
On and off. Well, pretty much on most of the time.
Suggsy, do you ever go and visit?
Yeah, I've stayed on Mike's very nice houseboat for some periods of time. It's a lovely city, Amsterdam. Of course it is, yeah. I've had a great time there, yeah. You can cycle, you can walk, you can have a pancake, and other things.
Did you move out? Are you well known in Holland? Were you guys, I mean...
Yeah, we had a mega hit back in the 80s. No, we are. We did a gig there the other day, and it was incredible. There was every word they knew of every song. It was quite unique. I don't know if it's something about the Dutch people as a race. They're very good at languages, but every lyric of every song that we did was like resonating around the whole. You know?
But you can live there and be you can live there anonymously, and it's all fine for the most part.
These days, pretty much.
Yeah.
I used to get recognised back in the 80s.
My friend moved there, and he loved it for the first 5-10 years. He said the great thing is everyone just lets you do what you want, and he said it's beautiful. But then him and his wife split up, and they had to move back after 2 years because he said the problem if a culture's that liberal, then what came with it was no empathy. So when he broke up with his wife, all his Dutch mates were going, well, get over it, what's the matter? And they sort of did his head in after a while.
You're touching a raw nerve with Mr. Barzo over here.
No, sorry.
Touching a raw nerve, Dermot.
You're telling me I should have really done my research.
Yeah, I did get it.
Now listen, I you know, I saw you last week on the X Factor and had a lovely chat with you, and I went home and thought, God, you know what? I thought I knew all the members of Madness, and then as I was doing my research, you've had so many people who left and come and gone so much. The Wikipedia's done a bar chart. Look, have you seen that?
Well, there are so many of us actually. Half the time we're not sure ourselves whether the whole band is there or not.
You two are the constants, aren't you?
Was that the bar chart says? What does the computer say?
Computer says that McPherson here, and well, you obviously apart from you. What year did you join? 78.
I was chucked out the band for a bit. Yeah.
Well, no, it just says this is when you start. I don't think they chucked you out.
I started. Oh yeah. No, it's about 78. Yeah. I was properly in the band. Yeah.
And then Chris is all the way through, apart from a gap in sort of mid 2000s.
But I'm not, am I? Surely, didn't I leave in 80?
Mike left. There's not a gap there.
There's a little gap at the start, pretty much. But then you're like, look at that for the second half of the season, like all the way through, ever present.
You've got all gold stars and smiley faces all the way through, mate.
This is it, because when you came down to X Factor, there's a chap on bass who was a very nice guy. I was having a chat with him, and then he looked about 30. I was thinking, who's he? Who's that? Who's on bass?
Well, obviously not our original bass player. If he looked 30, that's safe to say.
Graham Bush?
That's Graham Bush.
Is that Bushy?
Yeah, where did he start? It's sort of 2000.
Yeah, he is late.
He's late on, yeah.
Yeah, but he's doing well. Listen, I was very sorry to hear that Lee's sax got nicked. I was devastated. I'm so sorry.
We've been looking all around this studio here, Dermot, because, you know, you were a very light-fingered chap.
Don't say it didn't happen on my watch.
No, it's a bit of a shame, yeah, that Lee... Because funny enough, I never really thought about the way Lee plays his sax before, but we had it repaired in Berlin. And he said it's a bit like when singers have their adenoids removed. You don't know if you're ever going to get the same sound again. So we took it to this extremely experienced specialist who fixed his sax, and then it disappeared at the X Factor.
I can't think anyone...
Robbie Williams, he was on that night.
One
Direction.
One Direction.
Hey?
One Direction could be sending pictures back with it from their worldwide tour or something, you know? It's like, where's Wally?
He's going to put a hat on it and...
Poor Lee. So we've got to try and track this down.
Yeah, so it's true, actually. Anyone who was at X Factor that night... it's not worth a lot of money, that sax. It's all falling to bits. But, yeah, it's something he's had for 30 years. It'd be nice if we could.
So, listen, I mean, obviously, you've got so many of you, and you're in and out and whatnot. Was it easy to get everyone back together and do the album, or is it? I imagine logistics-wise, it's the most difficult thing now.
Yeah. You know, there's 7 of us, and you know, it's a very slow-moving organism. Madness. It's not difficult, but it is actually complicated. But there's more wind in the sails at the moment, certainly, I think, than there has been since possibly the early 80s.
Well, that's a lovely feeling to have, isn't it?
It is. I've not had wind in my sails like this time. Since I can't remember when.
But how many dates at the O2 you do? Is it three dates at the O2?
3 dates at the 4. Five.
It's just getting bigger with a second.
Lost count when we.
But also a big tour as well. I mean, that's brilliant.
2 dates.
You look like you're really enjoying it all.
Of course, no. I think, well, personally, I enjoy it more possibly than I did then. When you're younger, you're flying about just worrying about whether your trousers are heading in the right direction. And now I can take time to take it all in. I mean, the audiences we get, as Mike has already explained about the Amsterdam gig, but I mean, generally, the festivals we've done over the summer, we've got such a great reaction that it's a bit sort of humbling, really.
And I saw you at V, and I was sort of looking around going, how does that sort of 18, 19-year-old kid know all the words to a Madness song? Like, I know I do, but I mean, I just thought that's
a funny brilliant element, actually, because it was some time ago now. Mike and I were in my back garden, and his son was doing a project for college about, how has the downloading thing affected the old farts of the music business like us, and we were discussing that, and what is strange is we're sort of doing as well as we did, but obviously people download records for nothing. I mean, it's a fact, and we all know that. But it does mean that, say we're playing at Glastonbury or some big festival, you see a load of kids singing along with our songs that presumably they downloaded for nothing, the little swines. Well, they did burn themselves a CD and learn the words, in fairness to them. So they actually know something about the band.
And the flip side is now that most bands make their money from live touring anyway, so that's where, I suppose one thing leads into another, doesn't it?
This is the way it is. This is the way it is. So long as you're making money somewhere along the line, you can't argue too much.
So the album's We CCC Ya Ya Da Da, which is out on the 29th, and the single is My Girl 2. Over to you guys.
Do you remember this one, Mike? Big hit in the... when was it? Yesterday, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, 6, 7, 4, 5. Oh, not half, mate.
Are you ready?
Yeah, not half. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Are you, the listeners, ready for this?
Where's my tambourine, Darren?
Where's that tambourine?
That didn't get stolen as well, did it? Oh, never mind. Go on. This is a tambourine-less acoustic version.
You could clap, no?
Yeah, well,
all right,
when you finished, I will.
All right.
You want me to clap now? You in?
Here we go.
Go on.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Lately, I've been wondering about you and the things you do. I'm in love, but you drive me mad, be so sad to be losing you. But last night, when we had that fight in your car, you left me at the bar. I see her talking to her friends, acting like she just don't care. She got flair, and how she moved with such grace, like she owned the face. She's so fine, she looks so cool, got no time, and nobody's fool. Cause my girl, she don't read books, and my girl, she give dirty looks. I'm going to be what you want me to be, a man doing all I can. Cause my girl, heads above the rest of my girl, she's sure the best.
Right, tambourine solo. Where's that tambourine, Darren? Tambourine. Claps. Is that right, boys? Is that just kicking the groove
along? She's so cool, and there's no doubt she's so fine. She's all mine, I'm so glad she wanna be with me. She got looks and personality, I want her. All of her time to be mine, and all of her time to be free. Standing right by me and to see that it has to be we CC, ya ya da da, we CC, ya ya. Cause my girl, drive at night, and my girl, it's so out of sight. To my girl, heads above the rest of my girl, she's so the best, she's so cool, and there's no doubt she's so fine. She's all mine, I'm so glad she wanna be with me. She got looks and personality. Cause my girl, she's my girl, my girl.
Oh man, in a million roofs speaking. Well done, Mike. No, really enjoyed it. Well done.
Give us them welly, as always.
Well done, Mike. Well done.
My Girl 2, from the album We CC Ya Ya Da Da. Love that title.
It's good, isn't it? Yeah. We went through about 23 different possible titles, but in these times of what doom and gloom, I think a bit of affirmative is possibly something worth reconsidering.
Is that because Mike's learning Dutch, or is
He's
it just
learned Dutch.
or is it because you're a
Well,
linguist?
that's where the ya maybe comes in with the Dutch. Yeah. So I happen to have a Serbian. Well, it was a girlfriend. Now she's become my wife.
Lovely.
In fact, this song is about her, and that's where the da comes in.
Which
It's
is
also
the
Russian.
yeah.
The we
East Blockian. They speak a lot out there.
Did you
Balkans,
do you speak Serbian?
Not yet. Well, I learnt Dutch with the other one, and I don't know. I should learn.
Thinking, oh, am I going to gamble on this?
I'm not very good at languages. No,
You must be pretty good if you learn Dutch.
I know exactly. Pretty uphill climb, though, I must say.
I bet.
And after 20 years, I almost there.
And Peter Blake did the cover.
He did, yeah. He's someone we've known for quite a long time. He was Ian Jury's tutor at Art College, which is sort of how I got to know him. And being the 10th album we did, we wanted to try and do something a bit special with the cover. And we asked him if he'd do the cover. Well, you know, obviously he's famous for doing Sgt. Pepper's and also for being a very successful and good artist. And he said, I really don't like doing album covers because what tends to happen is the band choose a title and then the bass player rings me up 2 weeks later and says, we've changed our mind. So we said, no, it's definitely going to be called Circus Freaks, Peter. So off he went, this huge canvas of all things circus, before we phoned him and said, we've changed our mind. So I could hear the sound of a canvas being torn up and chucked in the bin. And he said, right, what I'm going to do from now on is every time you call up with a new title, I'm just going to write it down and cross them out until such time as you decided. And as you can see on the album cover, there's 5, 6, 7 prospective titles.
It's brilliant when you know the story to it as well.
Well, because, you know, people in our management were saying, do you really want to show the indecisive madness of what is the way it works with us? And I think in a way it's good because, that does show how the band work, you know. We went through 7 titles quite vociferously, I have to say. And we just, you know, in the end was yes, and that's where we're at.
Here's the thing, though. I really like it, but he could have done anything, surely, because it's Peter Blake, and you'd have gone, well, you're in a terrible position, because you can't turn around. You can't turn around and go, that's rubbish.
I know, exactly.
He could do whatever he likes.
I know, so, all right.
He
let's
did,
just...
no, he didn't.
No, of course, all right. It's just he scribbled a load of words with a crayon and crossed them out. It was well worth 20 grand. What are you talking about? It's brilliant.
It looks easy. Who would have thought of it?
So, boys, let's talk Jubilee. I'm sure you talked about it a million and one times, but what is it like? You know, performing, you got snipers on the roof, you got,
Well, how did you find it, Mike?
I found it very exciting, very unexpected as well. I'm very, it was great. It was fantastic. Yeah, I think it was a great honour. Yeah.
What happened? Did you get the call? Who calls you? Does the palace
Got the
call you?
call.
Or?
Well,
Who does call you?
Prince, what's his name?
Albert of Monaco.
Prince Monaco called us. That's right. Yeah.
He
From
said,
his yacht.
an old relation of mine.
He said, I
This
think
is getting
I
on a
can swing
bit.
it. He said, I've got a nice little plan here. My management called me.
I got a letter from
Hugh.
the Queen. I said, did you not get a letter from the
Yeah,
Queen?
I got
I
it,
said,
and they got my name wrong, didn't they?
No, they didn't.
Terrible is
Yeah,
that?
they did. What language did they write in? You know, you're an international man. They didn't know where you were, Mike.
It was
Monsieur Bazot, or was it
embossed letter, wasn't it?
Van Bosson?
Mike Van Morrison.
Yeah, we got a letter from the Queen. Anyway, we were asked to play at the party, which we were very happy to do.
Especially being London boys as well, I imagine there's a certain
You know, and then
resonance.
really the extraordinary idea that we might play on the roof of the Queen's house. Yeah, and considering where we come from, was quite a shock. Yeah, and who could say possibly a validation of all the things that we have tried to do with our music, you know, in this country, cheering people up and all that old stuff. Seems really out of fashion presently, but hey ho.
And in terms of the people, I mean, I read that great quote, you know, when you were younger, did an interview with Neil Tennant when he was editor of Smash Hits, and he thought, and he said to him something along the lines of, I'm not going to be jumping around by the time I'm 30, and then like at the Olympics, you were looking over or somewhere, you were looking over and he was there with a traffic cone on his head. You're thinking, I'm still here, this is great.
Yeah, well, more bizarrely than that, you know, we were on a lorry waiting to be unleashed into the stadium at the closing ceremony of the Olympics, and on our right were One Direction standing on a lorry. That very same character that I was saying 30 years ago, there's no way I'll still be singing baggy trousers on an old man of 30. And on my left, were the Pet Shop Boys riding bicycles with traffic cones on their heads. And, you know, life does get surreal sometimes, but no more surreal than that.
But isn't that lovely in that you are so positive and you are, you know, you're so sort of accepting of life and that's what, I think that's what a lot of your
Endures
success
somehow.
is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, you know, because we've always struggled with the fact that some sections of the BBC think we're like a bunch of clowns. But, you know, we put a lot of effort into what we do. And that's not to say that the main thrust of what we are about is positive. Yeah, it's not to say we are buffoons, but you know, it's hard sometimes to express the idea of being positive without coming across like you're a joke of some sort.
And also,
but you know, I'm not complaining. The public decide, and the public love madness, and that's really the main business.
Look, if I have a career as long as yours, I'll be over the moon. But my deal is that because I'm quite a positive person, and it's
you are, Dermot.
It's quite weird, in that people associate you with positivity with shallowness, or you know, it's quite odd.
Well, exactly, it
Very
is. It
frustrating.
is odd. It is odd. It is odd. You know, and we could go on for hours about it. You know, we were never seen as rock and roll, whatever that means, inverted commas. You know, which was taken quite seriously in the 70s, apparently. But you know, we worked as hard as anyone else, and we certainly took what we did very seriously. You know, and even making those videos where we may seem like we're messing about, we were trying to do something that
But
was
more than for us, for growing up with you, it's more than that, because you were opening up a whole subculture and a whole genre of music to my generation that we wouldn't have normally heard, you know. So all the boys that came over from Jamaica in the 50s, whatnot, you know, that's not a style of music unless you would actively go out and look for it, that, you know, you would grow up with. And so suddenly you hear Madness and you go, whoa, where are those influences from? Even as a young kid, if you love music, you go, where? And before you know it, you've got a Trojan box set. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of...
Now, Elvis Costello said, you know, in the time that we were making music, so the great thing about British bands at that point was it was like a lot of white kids trying to play black music and getting it slightly wrong. And I think that's not a bad addition to what we were trying to do. You know, we weren't slavishly copying those old ska records, but, you know, you could hear those influences in what we were doing. Yeah,
but in many ways, that set the scene and set the tone for, you know, multicultural Britain, really.
Well, we hope so. I mean, we were very fortunate that
I
specials...
know it's a very grandiose thing to say, but, you know what I mean? It can't hurt.
When the specials arrived, you know, yeah, it was a real revelation. Like, you know, there's someone else out there interested in what we're interested in. And, of course, Two Tone Records started, you know, just as we were getting to the point where we were ready to, you know, broadcast our experiences to the world. And that was a really amazing time, yeah.
Well, that was the lovely thing now, is you go and see you guys play live and you'll still hear the Prince and it'll still be sound as fresh and as great as it did then. It's lovely.
Well, one hopes so. You know, I mean, you know, we worked very hard in the last few years. You know, I sort of make an analogy with like Star Trek. You know, you got there was a black hole of 80s comfort that we could have revolved in forever until we were blown into a million particles. But, you know, we put sort of warp factor 8 on and we got out of the black hole with Norton Folgate. And I think with the new album, we're sort of back into outer space again, discovering new planets like we did when we started, you know.
Norton Folgate's my favourite album you've done.
Well, thank you very much. And I think it's a great album. I feel like we're on our way now back to somewhere that is relevant and, you know, we don't have to answer to whether we're an 80s band or not.
That's the nice thing, isn't
We're
it?
a bit of both, yeah, of course.
Speaking of which, what are you going to do for us now?
We thought the listeners would love to hear something old, talking about that stuck in the 80s in a minute. We're going to do a mega 80s hit, number 4 in America, all across the world. And it goes like this.
Yeah? Oh, yeah, that's the one. Father wears his Sunday best. Mother's tired, she needs a rest. The kids are playing up downstairs. Sister's sighing in her sleep. Brother's got a date to keep, he can't hang around. Our house in the middle of one street. Our house in the middle of our house, it has a crowd. There's always something happening and it's usually quite loud. Our mum, she's so house proud. Nothing ever slows her down and a mess is not allowed. Our house in the middle of our street. Our house in the middle of our house in the middle of our street. Our house in the middle of our... Father gets up late for work. Mother has to iron his shirt. Then she sends the kids to school, sees them off with a small kiss. She's the one they're going to miss in lots of ways, lots of ways. Tambourine.
our street, our house. In the middle of our, I remember where we came and everything was true, and when we would have such a very good time, such a fine time, such a happy time. And I remember how we played, simply was a day away, then we'd say, nothing would come to dreamers. Father wears his Sunday best. Mother's tired, she needs a rest. The kids are playing up downstairs. Sister's sighing in her sleep. Brother's got a date to keep, he can't hang around. Our house, in the middle of our street. Our house, in the middle of our house. In the middle of our street. Our house, in the middle of our house. Was our castle and our keeping. Our house, in the middle of our house, yeah. That was where we used to sleep, in our house, in the middle of our street. When a street used to be something that you lived in.
Still is!
Yeah! Come on! Thank you.
Madness. Our house. That was great.
Thanks. Does it feel weird sitting there? Obviously the viewer can't see this. But you're very close, up close and personal, aren't you, to the two of us, sort of sweating away and frantically trying
I like
to...
it.
Do you like
to
it?
make a mistake.
I like it a lot. It's like your own personal section. It's brilliant. There's a great thing when I was just doing my research today. In 1992, I think I was at this concert, August 8th, 1992. The police phoned the British Geological Society survey. It said people have been phoning in saying there'd been an earthquake in North London, and apparently, I don't know if you know this, and the seismic network showed there hadn't been an earthquake or an explosion, and we were able to deduce the cause of the renaissance out by the dancers at a Madness rock concert in nearby Finsbury Park. The resonance frequency of such dancing in harmony is tuned to the natural frequency of apartment blocks at this height, so the movement was amplified. So they thought, did you know that?
It was, yeah, you know, I do. It was number 5 on the Richter scale. And the seismologist, Alice Walker, I remember her name, rang Finsbury Park police station to say she thought the cause of the earthquake was a Madness concert, and they were sceptical. But as I always say, I bet that's not the word they used. But when exactly the same phenomena happened the following night, yeah, like tower blocks were evacuated and all that. But as I like to say, you know, I know our fans have put on a bit, but hey.
I think I was there. Yeah. Boys, thanks so much for coming in. The album Wee Wee CC Ya Ya Da Da is out now, as is the single My Girl 2. And the boys start a tour which kicks off in 28th of November, the Charge and the Mad Brigade tour in Dublin at the O2. They go all the way through then to the 22nd of December at London's O2 as well. Thanks so much, boys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dermot.
Cheers.